Turn heads and bring the hype with a custom hype chain from Lotwin. Perfect for youth sports, fantasy football, or just flexing your pride. Go to Lotwin.com, use the promo code TCCPOD for 10% off your order. That's Lotwin.com, promo code TCCPOD for 10% off. Get your custom hype chain and get hype with Lotwin. What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for May 5th, 2026. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Tuesday edition, a Cinco de Mayo edition, a Licking Our Wounds edition of the podcast. More on that in a minute, but it is Tuesday. Time for a little motivation / positivity brought to you by the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network. Go to clashingconferences.com, see what they have to offer, how you can join. They're always looking for fans of other sports other than Philly, New York, and Dallas. So go check them out. They have a lot of great entertaining podcasts. Go to wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube to check them out. And we, of course, here are proud members of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network. But it is Tuesday and didn't think this one was going to be appropriate for us as a sports city, but it is. But this comes from Rain Maria Rica, who is a poet, and he said, the purpose of life is to be defeated by greater and greater things. And I think on the surface, that ties in exactly with a lot of the themes we talk about here. Work hard, try to achieve those goals, fail, get better, learn from your mistakes, and all of that as you progress toward that. But I think on a deeper level, I think it's also saying don't get stagnant, don't get complacent. When you do achieve your goal, set your sights on the next goal and work harder to get that. And as you go through life, those difficult things should become easier, and there should be a whole new set of difficult things. And then you continue to move from there. Set new goals so when you get to that summit, you can look up, see the next summit, and go toward that. And I think it's very easy to get content and get complacent in life. I go through this a lot with different things. It happens with just this podcast a lot. I feel like you get into a groove. It's like, all right, what can I add on? How can I get better? I remember when I moved into this house from Philly, didn't necessarily have a ton of debt. It's kind of like, all right, I achieved this, now what? And it's easy to get caught up in that cycle, but always keep your eyes on the next prize, on the next goal, on the next challenge. And I think that's what Rain was saying here is, work hard, learn from your mistakes and all the surface level stuff. But I think on a deeper level, don't get stagnant. Don't get complacent. Continue to grow. Don't stop once you get there. So hopefully that's something you can take out of with you on during your weeks and get something out of it. I know it kind of helped put some things into perspective for me. And like I said, always look for the next challenge, the next goal, and don't get complacent, I think is what he was talking about. Because the purpose of life is to be able to be defeated by greater and greater things. Because as you get stronger, the challenges get easier. So challenge yourself even more. All right. That is Tuesday Motivation / Positivity brought to you by the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network. Go to clashingconferences.com for details on what they have to offer and how you can join. And now to the not so fun and motivating and positive things. And I think, and I sometimes I do this, and I know some of you out there get mad when I go here. But I think first and foremost, breathe. Take a deep breath. It has been an intense 5 to 7 day period here in Philly sports. Just breathe. Everything's going to be okay. I think days like last night, nights like last night, That's what makes Game 7 against the Celtics all the more worth it. It's what makes defeating the Penguins in overtime to knock them out all worth it. We got our asses kicked yesterday. I don't think there's any other way to put it. The Sixers, they need to shower well. I know we use that quote all the time from Clint Hurdle, but shower well, flush it. I guess you can't burn the tape because you can see how you can play better defense, but I wouldn't be opposed if they didn't watch the tape of this game at all, because honestly, nothing went right. Absolutely nothing. I think it was like the perfect storm. You had the Sixers, who 2 nights ago had played Game 7 up in Boston, a very emotional Game 7. And I mean, it is what it is. It's the NBA playoffs. You're on an every other day schedule now. You need to be better. But I do think there's something for kind of that letdown performance. The Knicks were rested. And again, that is what it is. I am not making excuses. So don't go and say, oh, you're making excuses. No, I'm just pointing out facts. And I think what you're going to see in Game 2 is a much different team. And I know each series is different, but we got blown out in Game 1 against the Celtics, and we see how that worked out. I mean, there was absolutely no defense played by the Sixers at all. Also did not help that the Knicks, for the better part of 2.5 quarters of that game, were shooting 70%, and they still ended up shooting 63%. Could they do it? I mean, they're playing hot right now. I mean, they beat the Hawks by like 50 the other night or whatever it was. I just think it was a perfect storm. I think the Sixers will bounce back. Do they need to play better defense? Yeah. It seemed like they were all just kind of standing around. Could they be better rebounding the ball? Absolutely. I know the final numbers look better, but while the starters were in there before Nick Nurse put them on the bench halfway through the third quarter, the Knicks were just out hustling us. The same things we did to Boston in Game 7, the Knicks were doing to us. And do I expect the Knicks to shoot over 60%, 70%? No. But it is what it is. Knicks up 1-0, and all the New York fans were coming out of the woodwork, texting me, blah, blah, blah. I got your messages. I just chose to ignore them. So live it up right now. Live it up. But just, it was a weird game from the start. From the opening tip that they had to redo the tip, it was just, it just felt strange from the beginning. But the Sixers will bounce back. Obviously, there are things they need to work on, and they should be working on them. But shower well. Wash this one away. Doesn't matter if it's 39 or 1. It's a loss. You move on. You live to fight Game 2. And truthfully, if they can steal Game 2 tomorrow night, all of a sudden this is a series again. So I still have Sixers in 7. I think this team has shown that when you doubt them, when they get punched in the mouth multiple times, they fight back. So I expect more of a fight out of the Sixers on Sunday. But man, I think I realized that I just hate all New York teams. That, like, the fact that I saw Jimmy Fallon's smug face every time, like, it just was super annoying, like ridiculously annoying. So Sixers get blown out, down 1-0 in the series, but it's a 7-game series. So like I said, just breathe. I know it didn't look good. It wasn't entertaining. I spent more time trying to figure out how to get a split screen than actually enjoying that game, because by the time I was able to settle in, it was a rout. But they look to bounce back tomorrow. And then the Flyers, 3-2 overtime loss, late in overtime loss. And let's start with the fact they blew a 2-0 lead. They came out playing with their hairs on fire and jumped out early. But you can't blow that lead. I know that Carolina is a very good team, but you can't blow a 2-goal lead. The power play still is broken. Yes, one of the goals was a power play goal. I get that, but they were 1 for 7. And I think like 3 or 4 of those power plays, they didn't even get a shot off. Like that, it's just unacceptable. And it's a shame because Dan Vladar did everything he could, man. He was standing on his head doing backflips, uh, played well. But I think the positives to take away from this one, they came out with more energy. They went toe to toe with that team. I think the adage goes in a 7-game series doesn't even start until the home team loses a game. So now the ball's in the Flyers' court. Let's go. Win on Thursday night, and then we'll focus on Saturday. But I mean, Carolina is just a very good team. They're not the Penguins. And this is a great learning experience for the Flyers. I'm not looking right now, though, for those moral victories because you made it here. Show the effort. And I like the energy they were playing with yesterday. So, tough way to lose. And, I mean, they had their chances. The first half of that overtime, the puck was in Carolina's zone the entire time. The Flyers were getting shots. Just both goalies were outstanding. Yes, it sucks. Yes, it hurts, but they're a good team. And the Flyers went toe-to-toe with them. So we rest up. We get an extra day here. Flyers on Thursday. But like I said, just breathe. It's not time to panic yet, especially with the Sixers because we've seen this before. Flyers, they lose game 3, then we can start panicking. But I don't think there's time to panic until they lose a home game. But man, what a disappointing night for our Philly teams. And of course, the Phillies flying under the radar. They win their 6th out of their last 7, taking 3 of 4 from the Marlins. Bryce Harper hit a home run. They win it 1-0. Aaron Nola was solid. Kudos to him. I think he needed this. 6 innings, 5 hits, 5 Ks. The bullpen was solid. Again, I know it's not a good team. That's okay. You got to play the who's on the schedule, and sometimes you get right series, get right stretches, quote unquote cupcakes. It gets a little bit more difficult. The A's come into town now. They've been playing better than they have been the past few years. But we got Christopher Sanchez on the mound tonight in a battle of the old Philadelphia. The old Philly baseball teams, the A's versus the Phillies, the old City Series. Now, see, tonight, I don't know what they have planned, but I think for this series, this is where you got to pay some homage to the A's in Philadelphia and honor maybe some of those players and teams. And I think it's one of the forgotten things that them and the Warriors, the fact that both of those teams got their start in Philly. But Phillies A's tonight, Christopher Sanchez on the mound, might be getting some reinforcements in the bullpen. Johan Duran is expected to be called off of the IL, so we'll see what happens. But who'd have thought the Phillies would be the saving grace on a packed Sports Tuesday? Thankfully, the rest of these series, it's staggered. I guess in part because they're both going to be playing at the Xfinity Mobile Arena. But we don't have to worry about the double headers at this point, for at least until near the end of the series. So let's get there first. But again, breathe. I know miserable today because I know I am, but we'll be okay. And I think days like last night are what makes Game 7 against Boston and eliminating Pittsburgh worth it. But don't get me wrong. It stings. It effing stings, man. All right, yesterday's trivia question. The all-time Flyers leader in goals in one game in a postseason game, it's Reggie Leach, who had 5 in a game in 1976. Thank you to everybody who reached out. It was kind of like the same 5 people. Lindros, Leach, Clark, Prop, and Barber. Everybody always guesses those 5. So it's always one of those 5, it seems like. But Reggie Leach, 5 goals in a game in 1976 versus the Bruins. Quick housekeeping. Be sure to follow me on all social media platforms at Philly Jimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont. Continue to spread the word. Slowly growing this thing. If you are a new listener, haven't done this in a while, welcome. We're glad to have you. be sure to hit up the Back to the Future voice and text line, 267-495-8531. Leave a voicemail, send a text message, get your Philly. On a day like today, use it as therapy. Get your rants out. I have an ear. I'll listen, and we'll get through this together. Check out the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame blog that I've been working on with a written sort of summary of this day in Philly sports history. So if you can't catch it on the podcast, you can at least read what's happening. All as I prepare, finally, I didn't really announce this, but over the past year, I think I talked about this, but over the past year, I've been saving my notes. Going to start a coffee table book this day in Philly sports history. So as soon as I get some time, and hopefully this summer, I'll spend some time writing that and getting it out. So stay tuned for that. It's in the works. Now to carve out some time to actually go through my notes. And then, of course, if you follow me on social media, not going to be doing this every day, only because sometimes I'm not in my truck. The way it happens, I'm in my truck a lot the past couple of weeks, but I've been doing takes from the truck, just kind of like quick, whatever's on my mind at the time. So best way to stay in the loop, like I said, is follow me on all social media platforms at Philly Jim. This day in Philly sports history is proud to be a part of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network, a growing community of diehard fans turning their sports passion into something special. Whether you're looking for unique shows, want to launch your own podcast but don't have the time, or need production services, the ClashingConferences.com has everything you need. Explore fan-driven content, become a member, or tap into their media services to level up your brand. That's ClashingConferences.com, where fans' voices get heard. Yeah, I mean, the T-shirts are amazing. Hoodies, whatever. And I know you're probably not feeling it right now, but go do yourself a favor, scroll through the site and look at what they have. I mean, it's just phenomenal. And don't forget the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. All right, May 5th. First, we're going to go back to 1965, and it was Phillies Mets at Shea Stadium, a Hall of Fame pitching matchup. Jim Bunning for the Phillies taking on Warren Spahn near the end of his career for the Mets. Bunning essentially said, "Hey, team, hop on my back. I got you." And he single-handedly beat the Mets, pitched a complete game, 4-hit shutout, also hit a solo homer in the 6th as the Phillies win it 1-0. Jim Bunning said, "Guys, I got you. Don't worry about it," as the Phillies beat the Mets 1-0 in a Hall of Fame pitching duel. Jim Bunning versus Warren Spahn. Bunning with a solo shot to win it for the Phils. And then in 1974, Gary Dornhoefer had 2 goals, including the game winner, and Rick McLeish added a goal and 2 assists as the Flyers beat the Rangers 4-3 at the Spectrum to go to their first ever Stanley Cup final. In the process, they became the first post-1967 expansion team, the Expansion Six, or as I've heard them called sometime, the Next Six. First one of those teams to beat one of the original 6 teams in a playoff series. And then 2 weeks later, the Flyers would do it again, beating the Bruins to win their first Stanley Cup. But on this day in 1974, Flyers move on to their first ever Stanley Cup final, beating the Rangers 4-3, thanks to Gary Dornhoefer and Rick McLeish. Then we're going to fast forward all the way to 1999. Sixers close out the lockout-shortened season with a 105-100 overtime win over the Pistons, clinching the number 6 seed. They would go on to play the Orlando Magic in the first round of the playoffs. What a magical season. Yes, it was a lockout-shortened season, but they had their first winning season since 1990-91, first playoff appearance since 1991. Allen Iverson scored 33 in this game, and the scoring title came down to whatever Shaquille O'Neal was going to do. Shaq needed 40 points in the Lakers game later that night to win the scoring title. He sat out the fourth quarter, finishing with 18, giving Allen Iverson his first ever scoring title. He became the shortest player to ever win it. First Sixer since Wilt did it in 1965-66. His 26.8 points per game was the lowest since Paul Arizin averaged 25.6 in 1957. But again, it was a lockout-shortened season. But this is when the Sixers got fun again, beating the Pistons on this day 105-100 in overtime to clinch the 6th seed. AI winning his first of 4 NBA scoring titles. And that does lead us into today's trivia question. I kind of gave you part of the bonus there. But which Sixers in the team's history have won scoring titles? And as a bonus, how many each? I goofed up and gave you Allen Iverson's. But let's see if you were paying attention. Hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line 267-495-8531 or the Discord chat, which is in the description. But which Sixers have won scoring titles? And as a bonus, how many have each of those players won? And then in 2018, kind of appropriate for today, but the Sixers, this is known as the confetti game. I think I had forgotten about this and kind of put it out of my head until it popped up, but down 89-87 in the fourth quarter to the Celtics in the final seconds. Marco Bellinelli hit a fadeaway shot at the buzzer. Everyone in the arena, including the operations team, thought it was a three-pointer to give the Sixers the win. Confetti fell from the ceiling. Fans were going wild. One major problem. It was only a two-pointer, so the game was tied and had to go to overtime. Took about 10 minutes to clean up all the confetti. What an embarrassing moment. And then in overtime, our old pal Al Horford put the Celtics ahead with 5 seconds left. They go on to win it 101-98 to go up 3-0 in that series. And maybe, just maybe, that was the curse that we had with the Celtics, because after that, that's when things kind of got a little goofy in that rivalry. But the confetti game on this day in 2018, I completely forgot that this happened until I was getting my notes together for this game. Rule number 1 in celebrations: make sure the game is truly over. Right up there with the Stanford band coming on the field, Deshaun Jackson dropping the ball at the 1, celebrating a touchdown, dropping confetti, causing a 10-minute delay. It's like the most Sixers thing ever. All right, and then finally today, our Philly Connection Spotlight. We're going to spotlight Matrick Belton today. You're probably like, who the hell is Matrick Belton? Well, for you WWE fans out there, that is Trick Williams, your current WWE US champion. Where's the Philly tie? He was an invite to the 2018 Eagles rookie minicamp. And by all accounts, by the coaches as well as Trick Williams himself, he said he had a great camp, won a couple player of the days. You saw you can look up some of the videos and see how sharp and crisp his route running was. Did go to Deuce Staley, who was coaching at the time, and asked, what can I do to make this team? And Deuce was very blunt and very honest. He was like, unfortunately, there's nothing you can do to make this team. Just don't mess it up. Try to get that stuff on film and see if another team will take you. I mean, they were coming off the Super Bowl, so I guess the feeling was if somebody was far and away above where everybody else was. But that moment when he did not get an invite to Eagles training camp is when he transitioned into professional wrestling. So if you're a Trick Williams fan in the WWE, I guess you can thank the Philadelphia Eagles and Doug Peterson, Howie Roseman, for giving Trick the opportunity to be the United States champion and one of my favorite. So good on the mic. But Matrick Belton, a.k.a. Trick Williams, is today's Phillies Connection Spotlight. Tried out for the Eagles, didn't make it, but didn't have a bad camp at all. But getting cut from the Eagles and not cut, just not offered a contract from the Eagles is what led him to the WWE. And I think kind of worked out well for everybody. But Trick Williams, today's Phillies Connection. Philly Connection, not Phillies, Philly Connection. These are early morning. Usually I have more coffee and I'm showered before I record. So these next couple of weeks are going to be tough. And then I'll be in the Outer Banks. So pandemonium in my house, my life. But that's the way I like it. On this day in 2018, the Sixers confetti game, Marco Bellinelli hit what everyone, except for the referees and TV replays, thought was the game-winning three-pointer. Instead, it was a two-pointer, causing a 10-minute delay to clean up the confetti. In 1999, Sixers close out the lockout season, 105-100 over the Pistons, clinching the 6th seed in the playoffs. AI dropped 33, winning his first ever scoring title. Gary Dornhoefer and Rick McLeish led the Flyers into a 4-3 victory over the Rangers, the other New York team, at the Spectrum to go to their first ever Stanley Cup final. And then 1965, Jim Bunning was a one-man show, pitching a complete game, 4-hit shutout, also hitting a solo homer in the Phillies' 1-0 win over the Mets. We'll have more on the Phillies as they look to continue their hot streak against their former brothers from Philadelphia baseball. We'll get you ready for Sixers Knicks game 2. Again, just breathe. I know it sucks. I'm feeling it too, but it's one of those things. It's like, all right, it's a 7-game series. I think the concern meter is higher for the Flyers right now, but let's see how they come out in front of the home crowd in game 2 on Thursday, or game 3, I guess, on Thursday. But we'll be all right. We'll be all right. Maybe I'm just tired. I don't know. Whatever. Sucked. It absolutely sucked. If you want to know how I'm really feeling, trying to spin it positively, but it's hard. But listen, we were in this position with the Celtics. Doesn't matter if it's 39 points or 1. A loss is a loss. Shower well, flush it, whatever you want to do. Move on. I mean, if I was Nick Nurse, I'd burn that tape. I would not want to watch that tape again. I turned it off. Once I saw he did bench the entire starting lineup, I turned to the Flyers, which that was an entertaining third period as well as overtime. It was fun, but disappointing because Dan Vladar played so well. Damn it. Anyway, remember, the purpose of life is to be defeated by greater and greater things. I mean, you want to say the Knicks beating us by 39 is a greater thing? We got defeated. Let's come back and win. Playing the Hurricanes to a 3-2 overtime loss when you went toe-to-toe with them is a greater thing. Come back better for it in Game 3. Who knows? This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for May 5th, 2026. My name's Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Tuesday. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.